takes time to be. It's not ever easy. No, nothing in life is free.
Justice for Alex! Justice for Alex! Justice for Miss Krushka! Justice for Miss Krushka! CVPA! CVPA! Deserve justice! Deserve justice! Young lives matter! Young lives matter! Kids lives matter! Kids lives matter! Teacher lives matter! Teachers lives matter!
Patient get hard when you know that you got it. And I know that I got it. Man, I know. Look.
Hello everyone, my name is Precious Berry. You are now tuned in with No Adults Allowed podcast. Today we have with me
Veronica.
Yes, you know, this is my girl. There's so much, you're just so impactful. Like literally just the work that you have been doing this last week since the tragedy. I just want to first say I'm just sorry for CVPA and everything that you guys been going through and enduring. So, just introduce yourself, you know, name again, your grade, age.
Hey everybody, my name is Veronica Russell. I am a senior at CVPA High. I was going to say I'm a senior again. I'm 18 years old in 2 weeks.
Okay, I see your birthday coming up. I feel so young. I don't turn 18 to like next July. But tell us what you do, because from the work that I've seen you do in the last week has inspired me. So I know you got some previous activism or just anything, like just how much you are impacting people. So like, have you ever got involved in any type of school affiliation groups or whatever that just motivated you to stand up?
No.
Really?
I have always just been that outspoken person. I've never been afraid of what people thought of me. I've never been afraid to say what I had to say or do what I needed to do, you know, to feel like myself, you know. If it's just like a really strong intuition. If I feel like that's what I need to do, then I'm going to do it. If I feel like it's something that I don't need to do, I won't do it. It's just always something that's about choosing me and choosing what I want to do rather than what society thinks that I should do.
That hit home, because you see a lot of people on the media that has some type of prior history to like speaking and stuff, and what you're saying, like you didn't really, and you just came up because you had a voice. You had that strong desire just to say something. So if you could go back to that day of last Monday, what happened, like you don't have to go in full detail if you don't want to, but just talk about like just your experience, etc.
You know, you never know what to expect, especially when you're in a situation like that, because you're at school.
Definitely.
When it happened, I was in my marketing class, and you know, they gave off the code like, hey, you know, there's an intruder in the building. Immediately off the bat, I knew it was real. You know, a lot of, like, some students, they kind of feel like, is this real? Because, you know, we have drills and stuff, so it's like, so I'm like, nah, y'all, this real. And, you know, we was hearing police sirens. So it's like, I'm like, well, all these police sirens come to our school. And, just that, and just going through your mind, like, what is happening. And I think, you know, it really struck when I began to hear the firearm. And, you know, you could hear the shots going on in the building. You could hear kids screaming. You could hear them hurdling over chairs and hurdling over desks to, you know, get out of that situation. So, yes, it was really something that, you know, it shocked me. Right. And it's something that, you just never expect.
And that is a good point. I remember Monday I was at home, and I saw the text. One of my friends had texted me. No, Todd actually texted me from he's one of the founders of No Adults Allowed podcast. And I was like, what's going on? So I instantly looked on social media, and I saw just everything. I was shocked because, first off, this is a school. Yeah. Just hearing a couple months ago in Uvalde in Texas, you know, that shooter that came into elementary school and, you know, shot the students up, the small babies. Yep. And what hit me is that this is supposed to be the safest place on earth for a child.
Definitely, yes.
A school ground.
Yes, a school ground. And my whole thing is that I just lost my whole train of thought.
No, it's good.
Like, yeah, like I was saying, in that situation, it was just, yeah, you never, because we have, there we go, it's back. You know, we as black people, you know, we kind of have this stereotype of where we think, only them white kids do that, or or you're only going to see that in the white neighborhood.
Yeah,
Well,
you
now,
won't see no
right,
person shoot up a St. Louis school, especially in
right,
a black predominant neighborhood a little bit, you know.
right. But now it was shot up by a black male in a predominantly black school, like
Alumni, I heard of that.
alumni. Yep.
It's just, that's the one thing that in this generation is about mental health. That's really scary.
Right. The neglect, the amount of neglect that mental health has.
The support. Also, when you speak about black community, the stigma on mental health.
Right.
You know, I've recently heard this quote. They said, black men were always taught to act out of violence and ask for help. And that really sit with me, because it's like you see in a lot of our generation now and older generations is that how a young black men or young just men in general, they're not the ones that's really being vulnerable than women are.
Right.
And it kind of, how do you feel about, you hear a lot of male shooters than female. You don't hear that a lot. Just mass shootings in general. How do you like feel about that? Like,
I mean, that in general, I necessarily don't even think that it's it's something that requires like a gender, because it's like mental health extends to everybody.
Definitely.
It's not just a man and it's not just a woman, but it's the amount of neglect that we have for it. And you know, even in mass shootings, it ruins the integrity of what we thought was safe.
Right.
You don't want to go to concerts anymore because what happened in Las Vegas. You don't want to go to school anymore because what happened Monday. Like, it's like we don't take as much account, and we underestimate the amount of mental health, the amount of effects that mental health has on us.
Definitely.
Especially children, because we think, children, they're going to forget about it when they go older, or they just don't understand. Whole time, even now, even in this present moment, you're still moving off traumatic experiences that you had when you was a child, subconsciously, that you probably don't even remember.
And you hit on a good point too as well. I think now in this generation, now in this day and time, we have to make mental health a non-negotiable for us.
For sure.
It is our number one priority.
For sure.
It's okay to not be okay. Making that more valid.
Right.
It's okay to seek out for help.
Right.
It's okay to ask for help when it's not in our faces.
Right.
So.
But another thing about that is, like, not all the time that we have those resources.
No, we don't.
We was talking about at the town hall meeting, and they was like, hey, well, what can we do besides, just going to the counselor? I'm like, well, put specialized therapists inside schools for teenagers.
Definitely.
Counselors are not looking at high school students or even elementary students or middle school students as, this is a psychological problem, and this is X, Y, Z, and this is what you need fixed. It's more like, what's wrong with your grade? Just something along the lines, but it's not but it's not the psychological standpoint of what's actually going on in that child's mind.
So, do you guys have therapists at your school?
No.
Really?
No, I mean, I don't know any school that that has a licensed therapist or a licensed psychologist,
Really? See, mine, I know we have one, but we only have, I think, one or two. And we have over probably 600-700 kids in the school at once, which is not okay at the end of the day.
Right.
I feel that, again, we have to put more funding in mental health.
Agreed.
And it's sad hearing that, because you guys can't really get out to those resources like y'all should have. And it's just like, from this traumatic experience that you have experienced last week, what is the impact that you want to see? And just not only your school community, but what can we do as people to stand up?
Me personally, like, in my opinion, the change I want to see, like, of course, I want everyone to stand up and rise up and use their voice.
Right.
Of course, but at the same time, I also want to see more action. We can talk about it all day, but when are we really going to make that step? When are we really going to
That is
have
a
those
good
changes?
point.
You know, like
Yeah, I definitely agree. Late great Shirley Chisholm, she it was a former congresswoman
mm-hmm.
in New York. She stated if what did she say? We can't whimper and complain on the sidelines,
right,
without making change.
right,
And they also say the easiest thing to hide from a black person is to stick it in a book.
right. And I feel like as a community,
they don't think we gonna try to reach out to
right.
those people and stuff. So yeah, I definitely agree.
No, for sure. And I feel like as a community, we don't know how to stick together anymore. We don't know how to come together. We don't know, like, you know, just unless it's on someone's death, you know, like that's really the only, it's someone's death or someone's celebration, you know, like it can't be something that's like I'm trying to get people on board to vote. A lot of people, like, I feel like black people are oppressed because we don't have the right knowledge to understand that, hey, this is a democracy and this can be changed because we are the people and we run this.
Definitely. And you also can look back in the education that we are being taught in schools.
Agreed.
We don't have a lot of civics being taught.
Agreed.
A lot of us are not really knowing how the government works and checks and balances work and how the
Right.
legislative system works versus the judicial system work and the executive system works.
Right.
You know, because they all play and tie in government. You
Right.
know, sometimes we may not know, and this is one thing that I try to work hard on. We need law classes in high school.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe if that former student knew about the law, maybe if he knew about civil rights, maybe if he knew about civil law and criminal justice, there we go. Maybe if they knew about the right to get an attorney, the Sixth Amendment. Maybe if they knew about those things, it could stand up. But one thing that I had to learn as people of color, when we know about our history too as well, we move differently. We respect each other differently.
Yeah.
And just seeing you grow, like, I just want to say, you're your ancestors' wildest dreams. Period, point blank.
Yeah.
Your family is proud of you. Your ancestors is proud of you because you are standing up for not just yourself but for your people.
Thank you.
You are cultivating different mindsets. You are cultivating change that our community needs to see. Young people are watching you from the screen saying that I'll probably want to be like her when I get older. I want to have the wisdom and be outspoken like she is because I have a heart and I have a voice and I want to say something too as well.
Right.
And that's just me just seeing the work that you have doing it from the first time I saw you last week. So I was just like, when you spoke out at the town hall meeting, I was just shocked. Like, because I didn't expect that from you because how so self-centered you were and so how your confidence was just so perfect, whereas when you spoke out, you laid it out there.
I mean, like, I feel like, you know, because, you know, earlier, I don't know if it was, like, earlier that day. Yeah, it was earlier that day because I didn't, like I told you, I didn't know about the town hall. I didn't know I was going to be on the panel to that day. And right after I got off the phone with Miss Aja, I was on the phone with my principal. Mm-hmm. She was just saying, like, hey, like, because, you know.
She's amazing, too.
Yeah, and, you know, we had a couple run-ins, and you know, we do debates and stuff at school. So she was like, you know, you've been prepared for this, like, you know what to do, like you got this. Especially after she, because I forwarded my letter to her also. Right. And you know, I just felt like, you know, I had to speak up for my school. I had to speak up for, you know, those kids who couldn't, for the victims, for the survivors, and for those who didn't survive. I'm sorry to say, because in the midst of our school, CVPA was a home to us. It's not a school. CVPA is home. We go there to escape. We go there to express. Right. We go there to create. And I ultimately felt like in that moment, you know, not only was my school being taken away from me, but it was also wasn't to be justified. No, it's like, you know, of course it was all over the media, but at the same time, okay, we're all witnessing it, but what are we going to do to change it? We all saw it. We all saw it happen. Okay, so what's next? We just gonna keep letting it happen, or we gonna do something about it?
And you know, just going back to that day when I saw on social media, like, all the posts that were made, it became a motive.
Yep.
And one thing about school shootings globally in America is just a 1-minute screening on probably CNN, MSNBC, and that's it. Right. Because we have became so neutralized to it to where it's not even valid no more. Right. And it's sad because this is children of our future, the ones that you want to invest in, the ones that you want to put your money in because
It's the future.
Yeah, they're going to be taking care of you one day, you know,
Yep.
making your rights, making your legislations, making your bills, all of that. So it's just like,
Yeah.
just to tie back what I saw on social media, I saw a lot of young children, which hurted me so much, you know, with those threats to their schools.
Yeah.
You know, which we have to do better as young people is to, like, come together. You know, I would think that a school shooting that happened close to home that people thought that would never happen would say, "Oh no."
Yeah, but and that was my main point at my
Yeah.
protest, because you know I had the protest last Sunday, and I was basically saying, you know, because I also had KMOV out there,
Right.
and I was telling them, and I'm like, we as kids should not be out here begging for our lives.
Shouldn't have to be at all.
Why are we begging for our livelihood? Why are we begging for our safety? Y'all can put millions and millions of dollars into war crime, into making those weapons and, you know,
Machineries
explosives.
and all that.
Yes, but we are young out here begging for y'all to please,
Right.
like, please save us, you know,
And
like.
just to tie back, our governor, our education is underrated. Education, period, and it has always been, hasn't been seen like it should have been.
Agreed.
Education comes with security in schools, curriculum,
Right.
to the basic fundamentals of what a child needs,
I agree.
resources, all of that.
I agree.
That just shocks me. I just can't get that out of my mind. Like, you guys don't have a therapist?
Right.
That's sad.
Yeah.
But y'all, and it's sad how a lot of, you got those, not teachers and all those faculty staff that say, "Oh, that child bad. That child just ain't got no family at home. They just acting out." And you know, when you fight, they quick to put them stigmas on you. But can you put the resources in place for them?
Right.
Can you put the solutions that they need?
Right.
You know, you can't keep trying to put out an issue on them and not giving them the resources and the solutions that they need. So
Right, because at the end of the day,
Yeah.
we're still kids.
At
We
the-
don't
at
have
the-
all the answers.
definitely.
Even though we are acting off emotion, it's about, you know, how a certain situation made me feel.
Right.
But do I still have the experience, and do I have enough to control it? Maybe not. But that's your job as an adult to help
Right.
me. But if you neglect me, then that's a whole nother story. It's all about just being there and just understanding, like, hey, I know you're not having a bad day. I know you're having a bad day. Let's calm down. Let's
Right.
take it back. Tell
Right.
me what's wrong.
Right.
But, you know, like you said, we as a black community need to start normalizing that. We need to start normalizing being vulnerable in those environments. We need to start
Yeah.
normalizing being vulnerable even in the
Definitely.
education environment, because, like I said, that's your home away from home.
Definitely. And I know we have a few organizations out there that are in schools, but we don't have a lot of mentors that are in schools.
Yeah.
Let's have a lot of mentors walking around. I know I have a campus at my school, but because all our classes are in different buildings, we have to walk outside to some of our classes to go to different buildings. But in the schools in general, during lunchtime, hey, what's going on with you? You know, how's your life been?
Yes.
You know, also with teacher engagement, I don't know how that former student was relationship with, the beloved gym teacher, you know, that just recently passed from that tragic incident, but we need more teacher engagement, and that's just globally wise.
Yeah.
And that's one thing that I try to fight for in education too as well. The kids don't want to hear an hour and 30 minutes or however long your classes is about straight to the curriculum.
Right.
That's you know heard of a do now, right? You know what a do now is when we get in class. Let's say what's going on in the news that recently caught your eye. What's going on in society that you want to talk about in class. We can have a little 3-minute discussion about it.
Right.
It's not going to affect our curriculum. It's not going to affect our plan, because if we could have 5 minutes to get to class, we can have at least a mental health break.
Right.
You know, so it's just like hearing you speak, it just gives me hope.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, and I think also something that's also important is also, just like you said, having those mentors and also having those examples, those people that you can look up to, because as you know, and in our community, we don't have many of those. And excuse my language, but they kill them off every time. Chadwick Boseman, Gandhi, Martin Luther King, Malcolm X. You know, like these are people who we idolize and who we look to, you know, to say, oh, okay, that's who I want to be. as a black man, Chadwick Boseman, Black Panther, that's who I want to be.
Definitely.
And that's like, you know, those are the things that we need to see in our community. A lot of times we also don't see the positive reinforcement of the black community. All you see when you go on Instagram, black girls fighting. They at a party. They I'm sorry, excuse my language. I don't know how to say it, but they smoking, they drinking. Mm-hmm. You know, like this is the constant, or you know, like people like Lil Baby, like we all support Lil Baby, but what is he doing? Exploiting black women. Mm-hmm. Every day you hear on the radio.
Or that Blueface and Krishan.
Yes,
their name right.
That's what they want to exploit. When the last time you heard about black graduates? Mm-hmm. When the last time you heard about black teachers? When the last time you heard about
during COVID?
You know what I'm saying? Like it's
giving them virtual recognition.
Definitely, like
yeah.
it's a deprived. We are deprived of those examples. We are deprived of that knowledge of who we want to be, and that's why it's so hard to find our niche,
right?
Find who we are, because we can't even begin to think of who we want to be.
And it's just like, for example, social media. A lot of people don't use social media in a good manner. Like you were saying, smoking and drinking and flashing guns on social media, all of that.
Right.
Like, at some point, we're going to have to realize that we need to come together, you know.
Right.
And just, like, for example, in different schools, I know, like, we'll have, and this is what I don't like, this is my personal opinion, we'll have people from high-poverty neighborhoods that's getting all the money and income taxes to come speak to a low-income neighborhood about life. It don't work like that with us people of color. We learn and we grow from experiences of people who thought they was that. They had to dig down a couple times to come back up, who had to serve time. And, you know, when you hear, like, motivational speakers like that or inspirations like that gives you hope and wisdom.
Right.
You know, because it shows you that person not only didn't come from nothing, but they learned from something.
Right.
They say this quote, what they say, you learn what you grow through.
Mm-hmm.
And that's deep, and that's in anything in life, from your experiences that you just experienced. So, before we wrap this all up, I got just like 2 more questions to ask you. Like, how do you see your future from now? Like, do you see your future just like inspiring young kids, like just anything in the mental health field, and just anything in general that you just see yourself doing? Like, did this event like make you want to do something different about like your career goals, etc.? You know, elaborate.
That's actually a good question, because this event made me question my entire career. Everything that I wanted to do in life became a question. But you know, like I said, I never got into politics or anything. Like, it's always just been dance or creativity. So, especially, you know, now that I'm exposed to the world, it's definitely something that I would like to get into.
Really?
But
Girl, join the board.
I'm pushing.
We need young, you know, we gotta break those traditional stereotypes. And one thing I say about this system, a lot of black women deal with double handicaps, and that's being both black and female. You know, they try to put that stigma on us. Oh, she's the angry black woman. Or she's the person that she doesn't know what she's talking about. And it's all of that.
Right. That's why I was talking about myself personally. Like I said, like Mr. Alicia Shanye, like, you know, we was just talking about having those idols and having those people that you could look up to. And I, you know, even down the line, I'm always going to be creating, and I just want to be one of those people who, like we say, who young girls can look up to and be like, hey, she did it, so can I, you know?
Right.
That's that type. I also, just basically pushing for that black excellence, for little girls to be able to look at me and say, like, she did that.
But you did do that. You did do that. You did an amazing job, and I probably said that like 100 times this meeting. It's just literally, like, you have to keep going. Like, I want to tell you this, like, before I ask you your last question, but you got to keep going. You're gonna deal with critics. You're gonna deal with critics all your life. But long as you speaking the truth, long as you knowing your facts, knowing that you know your purpose and your mission, you're gonna be straight. Knowing that you got people by your side that's going to back you up, you're going to be perfect. And that's one thing that we got to do with each other, period. Us women that's just probably growing up to be in politics, we got to stand with each other.
Right.
We got to hold each other's hands. We got to make sure we doing the right thing. So, before we wrap this up, you got any, like, last words you want to say to, like, St. Louis, the world, anything, anybody, like, just anything you want to say, like, just say it. All free hands on deck. So,
I just basically want to get out there, like, as a community, like, as a minority, for real, like, we have to come together. We have to, because when are we going to let, because now this stereotype has been revealed. You know, now it's not just a white man no more. It's not just happening in black schools. Now it's happening to with black people, to black people. So what are we going to do?
Right.
You know, it's like I said earlier, we as kids should not be out here fighting and begging for our lives.
At all.
So, yeah, I just want my community to come together and hear us and understand that it's not, because it's not just, because yes, I am talking about CVPA, but it's not just about CVPA. It's about all of us, because as soon as that happened to CVPA, you saw so many different schools experiencing it.
Right after.
How long are we going to wait until there's another Orlando Harris? How long are we going to wait till there's another Alexandria Bell? And when it happens, what are we going to do?
What are we going to do?
That's why I was pushing a protest. I'm pushing for the red flag law. It requires a background check for anyone who wants to wield an assault rifle, because, you know, you don't need one to wield one. It requires a background check. It requires a mental health check, and it requires a disability check. And if you cannot pass those, then you cannot wield an assault rifle.
So is this a bill in Missouri or any type of legislation in Missouri, or this is a federal issue?
It's a state, like, it's a state issue. It's a state issue because they in other states they have more controlled gun laws and more controlled gun legislation. But in Missouri, the legislation is so loose that it allowed that 18-year-old boy to get his hands on an assault rifle and walk into that school.
So for me to help you, I think what we should do, and just get more young people involved in this movement. You said the red flag, right? And this is a state issue, right?
Yes.
We got state reps here.
Nope.
We got state reps here.
That's why we're having that march on Sunday. We're going to be holding red flags. It's going to be like 1,000 red flags sorted out, for those who show up to the march.
Can you tell everyone about your the march on Sunday? Yes, do that. I forgot. That literally slipped my mind. Like, when you said that, it clicked. So yeah, definitely just say what you guys are gonna do, your mission, your purpose, all of it. Okay, so yes, we will be hosting a march for justice and a celebration performance. It will be on Sunday at 1:00 at CVPA. We're going to march. Don't quote me on this, but we're going to march a couple blocks around the school. Then we're going to circle back around to the school and then come back to the school for a performance. You're going to see dances. You're going to see vendors. You're going to see Chick-fil-A. And then we're also going to have voter registration set up so that if you're 17 or turning 18, you will be able to vote so we can get those laws. You can get able to vote so we can get those who do not support our cause out of office and those who do support our cause in office, so that we can have that change and make that change so that what happened on October 24th will never happen again. And oh my gosh, y'all, she's usually using her First Amendment rights. Literally, rights of freedom, press, speech, assembly, all of that. Literally, you using all of it. Petition, assembly, press, speech, all of that. You can't. And you got probable cause. Probable cause. Literally. So,
yeah, we breaking all the rules.
You're not really breaking the rules. You're really doing your thing.
No, for sure.
I just want to say,
yeah, it's gonna be it's gonna be big. We're gonna have fire trucks. We're gonna have the police, the chief of police gonna be there. It's gonna be big. Okay. It's gonna be big.
Official. And just to wrap this up, y'all. Not only that this is official, but it's going to be impactful. I've heard so many resources. The police department, you said, the fire department too. Mm-hmm. You know, they come. Also, they come like a pack.
No, for real.
Definitely. Yeah. And we're going to have some speakers.
For sure.
Of course, this young, beautiful lady that's older than me, but she's going to be
older than you?
Yes, I'm 17. I'm a young senior. I don't turn 17 to next July. 18 to next July. So
you a Cancer?
Yeah.
I like that.
Guys, we have again Miss Veronica Russell. Again, I just want to keep telling her and telling just the world that we got someone right here. Y'all not gonna want to mess with her when she get up, because she's gonna be straight about her facts.
To all my girls out there, and even my boys, never be afraid to be yourself, because it's one, like, if you know yourself, then you can know anything. Right. Don't let nobody tell you nothing. Ooh, I sound so.
No, you good.
Don't let nobody, but just remain yourself, remain in your truth. Follow your intuition. Follow that gut feeling. Don't, even, like, even if it odds are against you, make them odds turn back, like, because if you follow your heart, you can make it. You can just always follow your heart.
Definitely. You heard it from the best here. I just want to say thank you for coming out and just expanding your voice again, like exercising your voice at that. Continue to be great. Continue to just do everything. So thank you, everybody, for coming out and supporting and just listen to her. Y'all have a nice day.